Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever in the world you might be joining us from. Welcome to Wise at Work Virtual Communities. My name is Parneet Pal. I am the Chief Science Officer at Wisdom Labs, and I'm so happy you're joining us today for this session on rest and resource, relaxation and deep sleep for building resilience with our special guest, Michael Taft. Now, I see that a lot of you, as usual, are joining us from all parts of the world, and many of you have been coming to this community week after week, and we are so happy that you're doing that. But if you're new to Wisdom Labs, we are a San Francisco-based company solving for stress, burnout, and loneliness in the workplace using the science of mindfulness, resilience, and compassion. And in our work, we build communities of practice just like this within organizations globally. And our aspiration is to build mental, emotional, and social well-being within companies. As part of our coronavirus relief series, we are really happy to be offering these 30-minute sessions every Wednesday, where we have invited our extended network of mindfulness and resilience experts who are generously donating their time to help us learn, practice, and connect as a community, and to share their expertise and wisdom. Now, please be sure to comment and use the chat room throughout the session. And I also encourage you to please start posting your questions as they come up so that I can take a few of them at the end and pose it to our guests. Now, it's my pleasure to welcome Michael Taft today. Michael is a best-selling author. His last book was The Mindful Geek, which I highly recommend. And he has also been the editorial director at Sounds True. Most of all, Michael is an internationally renowned meditation and mindfulness teacher, and he works with both clients one-on-one, but also with companies globally, including Google. We've also had the pleasure of having him be a part of our core faculty at Wisdom Labs and as an advisor to us. And I can say that you are all in for a huge treat in this session with Michael. Not only does he imbue his teachings and his meditation with his more than 35 years of expertise and the wisdom that goes along with that, but he has one of the most beautiful, soothing voices that you will hear. So really excited for that, and I will hand it over to you, Michael. Welcome.
Thanks, Parneet. That's her very kind way of saying my voice is good at putting people to sleep. So thank you and welcome everybody. I'm so excited to see everyone here from all over the world. My hope is that if you're coming from somewhere in a different time zone, that you're not sleeplessly spending the night watching this, but rather able to go to sleep whenever you'd like. I've really had a great time for many years working with Wisdom Labs, and it's so, I just find it so cool and so powerful that they're able to put together these meetings. So today we're going to talk about both rest and sleep. And as the title makes clear, rest and sleep is how we resource ourselves, right? We all know that we need more resilience. We need more resources on which to draw to handle both our normal work and our everyday lives, and then the added stress and difficulty that is coming about from the COVID crisis, which I'm sure we're all feeling a little bit. And I've had a lot of people that I work with and a lot of friends and family talking about having very intense dreams during this crisis, which are keeping them awake, having a lot of anxiety, which is keeping them awake, and so on. And so both anecdotally in my own sphere and also reading articles and news items from around the world, it seems like now more than ever, we need to be able to work on our rest and on our sleep so that we get enough of the kind of deep sleep nourishment, we might call it, or nutrition, almost like sleep nutrition. I mean, I'm just making this up as a word, but the good stuff we get from sleep, we need more than ever. during this time. So let's talk about that. I was just looking today at a new study from the Harvard Women's Health Watch, which talks about how important it is to get enough sleep. And of course, I think we've all kind of heard this before, just it's recently in the past, like let's say 2 years, it's become a very big issue. Everyone knows we need enough sleep, but I just want to review, and maybe for some of you share for the first time, some of the most basic important things about getting enough rest. And in this case, we're talking about sleep. So the Harvard Women's Health Watch, and you could look this up online, it's a really cool study, but they give 6 of the most important reasons for sleep. And most lists, it's like the most important 10 reasons or 20 reasons. So I was very grateful to the Harvard Women's Health Watch to reducing it to just 6 really memorable things. The first one is learning and memory. So it's really important for learning and memory to get enough sleep because it helps your brain to commit any new memories into permanent memory. It's the process called memory consolidation. So if in the tests that have been done, if you don't have enough sleep, you actually they test you on your learning and your memory retention. And obviously, I think we all know this, but you can prove it. It's true that if you don't have enough rest, if you haven't had enough sleep, you don't have that kind of sleep nourishment, you don't remember as much. Your scores on these memory tests are much lower. Another really important thing for our world and our health is that, strangely, it seems counterintuitive, it does to me anyway, but not getting enough sleep affects your weight. And it does that by altering hormone levels that affect your appetite. And it also actually affects the way that your body processes carbohydrates. So it's very common for people who are not sleeping enough to actually gain weight from not sleeping. And we all know that weight gain has all these other concomitant or knock-on, negative health consequences. So we've got negative effects on learning and memory, negative effects on metabolism and weight. Another one that is kind of obvious, but I never would have thought to put it on the list, but of course it makes sense, and that is safety. If you're chronically fatigued, you definitely are more likely to have car accidents, more likely to trip and fall. And then there's people in critical jobs like pharmacists and air traffic controllers and stuff who, when they are sleepy, can tend to make these errors that affect like a great number of people. So all of us can benefit from getting more sleep and just having fewer safety issues. One that I've noticed, I think we all know this, but for me it's a big one, is if you have sleep loss, you get irritable and moody. And, this one is very noticeable. And so in terms of sleep making our life sweeter and kinder and more wholesome and having us able to connect better with other people and so on, this is a crucial factor. And then just 2 more things. One is cardiovascular health. And again, this one I was like, really? It affects your heart? But yes, you can get hypertension and the stress hormone levels go up. You can even get an irregular heartbeat. But we all know when the stress hormones go up, that leads to all kinds of knock-on effects, concomitant, really difficult health issues. And so it not only affects your weight, but it affects your heart, your cardiovascular health. And then finally, just disease overall. And this, again, to me, kind of goes together with how stress affects disease in the body. When you don't get enough sleep, it alters your immune function. Your immune system doesn't work as well. And for example, the T cells, the killer cells that go and take out things invading the body don't work as well. The immune system is not as effective at defending yourself. And so Harvard Women's Health Watch even adds that keeping up with sleep may actually help your body to fight off cancer. So it's really crucial that we get enough rest. And I find these lists amusing because in a way you read it and it makes you more anxious and it gives you a harder time sleeping perhaps, but at least you're motivated. And so, we get it that we want to do this, but how do we do it? How do we get more rest in the day even, or sleep at night? How do we build enough relaxation to be able to go to sleep in the evening or even take a nap during the day when we need that? And this is the big question, right? If you're just laying in bed ruminating, planning for tomorrow, or regretting all the things you've done wrong in the past or whatever, it is not conducive for falling asleep. And I think it's very fascinating in English how we have this word, this verb for sleep, falling. Not, we're not doing sleep, we're not working ourselves to sleep, we're falling asleep. And it's related in my mind, just anecdotally, to how we have the word falling in love. And I think there's something similar there that the language is pointing out, and that is just like you can't really fall in love on purpose. It's hard to do as an action. It's just kind of a thing that happens to you under certain conditions. Same with sleep. No one can really go to sleep on purpose, or let's say that's quite hard to do. Instead, you can just set up the conditions, make it easier to fall asleep, right? And there's a lot we can do there. One of the big areas that we can improve is the area known as sleep hygiene, where we, don't look at blue light before bed. We don't have lights in the bedroom. We make the bedroom colder and so on. There's a long list of sleep hygiene things you can do. But I want to move into showing you how to get both the physical relaxation going and also mental relaxation. And we'll do this as a guided practice. And both of these features, the physical relaxation and the mental relaxation, work for you anytime you need to relax. It's not just for going to sleep. If you have an extra 20 minutes at work and you have a room where you can go close your eyes, if you are just anxious before a meeting and you need to just calm down a bit, or if at night you're trying to focus and you find your mind is really, really overly anxious and so speeding around, or indeed when it's time to go to bed and go to sleep and you're in bed, the practices I'm going to show you would work for any one of those situations. And you just would take it further or deeper to go to sleep at night, and then just do a little bit of it to get more relaxed and resourced during the day. Remembering that getting these resources, building this relaxation, being able to sleep and sleep deeply and not wake up during the night, or if you do wake up, being able to go back to sleep, this is just crucial, right? It's going to fill your battery pack. It's going to give you the resources, as I said, sleep nutrition, the sleep nurturing that you need to enjoy your life and stay healthy and active and be, your best self at work and also your best self all the rest of the day. So it couldn't be more important. So let's begin looking at how to physically relax. And we'll do this as a guided meditation practice. That's sort of my home base, right? I'm mainly a meditation teacher. And so what I'd like you to do is close your eyes at this point. And we're going to do a combination of two things for physical relaxation. Number one, I want you to do slow, deep belly breathing. And of course, you make this comfortable for you. If you have lung issues or allergies and you can't breathe right now, just do whatever's comfortable. It works no matter what. But the idea is to slow down the breath and to breathe deeply from your belly so that your belly is actually rising. You can physically feel, if you place your hands on your belly right now, make it so that when you breathe in, your belly is expanding enough, like filling up your hands, like because you're holding your belly. And then on the out breath, goes back down. And then on the in breath, slow, filling that belly, feeling it expanding as your lungs fill up. And then on the out breath, the belly collapses. And so let's just do this so that you're feeling this long, slow, deep, very satisfying. Breathing in feels good, right? Satisfying in-breath. And then long, slow, pleasant, satisfying out-breath. Most people find, the in-breath feels good because the body likes taking in air, right? A couple 100 million years of evolution have made it so that bodies feel good when they breathe in air. And then on the out breath, because the body actually, the muscles work to breathe in, but on the out breath, the muscles are just relaxing. So you can actually get an extra sense of relaxation on that long out breath. And many people find that it helps to stop the mind from spinning to just count these in breaths and out breaths. So for example, I'm just going to make up these numbers for you. They're going to be individual, but let's say counting to 10 on the in breath and counting to 10 on the out breath, like breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's a long one. Breathing out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Just counting those. It's not to keep yourself amped up. It's rather to just start cutting through the mental chatter and just really focus. And this is what I want you to get into is the pleasant physical sensation of that in-breath and the pleasant physical sensation in the belly of that out-breath. If you're used to feeling your body, you'll notice these breaths feel really good. And as you're doing that, an added thing you can tack onto this, if you're comfortable feeling these long in-breaths and out-breaths, is you want to go through a full body relaxation. So relaxing your eyes, your face, your mouth, allowing your jaw to open enough that your upper and lower teeth are not touching. And then just going through the body, allowing, just kind of intending, you're not doing a bunch of stretching, you're just intending that these muscle groups release and relax and let go and become soothed. So you're doing these big, slow breaths, and the rest of the whole body is getting really, really released. So your arms and legs should be, you just intend that they're as limp as wet rags. Your hands and feet are as limp as wet rags. There's just no tension in them whatsoever. And then as you're continuing the slow breathing, you'll notice that the letting go of the tension in the arms and legs is very, very, very nice. Feels good along with that slow, deep breathing. So I'd love to go on for another, let's say, half hour with that and guide you deep into that. You can hear me doing some of that on the Wise at Work app. But that's the physical relaxation portion. And you could do that as long as you want when you get in bed. And you'll find that the body feels good when it lets go like that. So that's the physical part. And then I'll just briefly show you how to do the mental relaxation. We started to get into it by counting the in-breath and out-breath, because instead of ruminating on the past or worrying about the future, we're just doing this rhythmic counting, which is very, very easy to do and is not, taxing on the cognitive system, right? We're just getting a kind of a rhythm going in our mind. But the next step I want you to take to relax your mind is to just simply, this is like a thing I want you to tell yourself at this moment. Just say, I want to relax the core of my mind. Just like we had this physical relaxation where you were tight and then you let go and felt how good that feels. I want you to do the same thing with your mind. It's tight, it's been gathered around thoughts, it's been working hard, it's been thinking all day. And now just notice any tension in the mind and just kind of any tension in the mind and just kind of intend that it release. And if it tenses up again, just relax, let it release. It's very casual, very at ease. You're not, hypervigilant about tension in the mind. You're just noticing any relaxing, spacious flavor in the mind. And then moving into that relaxing, spacious flavor. And if parts of the mind tense up again, they're grabbing onto thoughts. It's grabbing on, and starting to work. Just be like, oh, that's okay. We're going to just let that go for now. And we're going to move into opening, releasing, letting go of tension in the mind. And it's very beautiful. That's something that your mind can just do. It may snap right back shut, but then you just relax it again. It will open, and gradually, especially as the body gets very, very relaxed, the mind will just open and release and relax. And then you will either be very restful and ready to then go, back to work or go do about your day. Or if it's time to go to sleep, you just relax the core of your mind a little bit further. And you will fall into sleep. Remembering that we can't make ourselves go to sleep. It's not a thing we do as kind of a conscious volitional act, but rather we can set up the conditions in this physical and mental relaxed way. So let's just be quiet for just a moment and allow that to kind of be with you in the body and mind. And then from there, let's just open it up for comments or questions. So, Parneet.
Well, Michael, that was amazing. I know I felt my body really sink into such greater relaxation. And I know we've been seeing comments and people noticing how they love that statement. I want to relax the core of my mind. I think that really resonated with everyone. So thank you so much for that. That was beautiful. I'd love for you to address a couple of comments and questions. One of them from Erin, who says, when doing the belly breathing, is it best to breathe out through the nose or the mouth? Does it make any difference?
I would say very often I've heard that breathing out through the nose is better. But honestly, I have no studies or science that backs that up. And I found that for different people, it affects them individually in different ways. And so I would say it probably doesn't matter.
Thank you. The next question is from Jen, who says, what would you suggest for someone who suffers from allergies and asthma who often wakes up in the middle of the night?
And if you're waking up from the allergies or asthma, then you're probably going to wake up no matter what because you're coughing or whatever, or runny nose. But this technique will help you to get back to sleep very quickly. Many people find that when they wake up in the middle of the night, they're then worried that they're not going to get back to sleep, and that makes it harder to get back to sleep. But if you have these kind of go-to techniques, after they work a couple times, you have a real confidence that you understand. You just keep your body relaxed, allow your mind to relax, and you will go back to sleep. So I found that even if let's say if I have a cold and I'm waking up many times a night, these practices will allow you to go right back to sleep as soon as the symptoms calm down a bit. So it builds up over time. You get more and more confidence, and there's less and less anxiety.
And that's crucial, right, Michael? That insomnia is kind of a self-perpetuating cycle because of that anxiety that comes with it. I'm trying to sleep, but I can't sleep right now. And that makes you even more anxious. And one of the things also to remember for everyone is that our sleep happens in cycles, and each cycle lasts for about an average of 90 minutes. And it's not uncommon to, if there's a movement or a noise or something, or if you're sleeping lightly, every 90 minutes or a couple of hours, you might just wake up a little bit, and that's okay. And I think just using all the tips that Michael has suggested, when you find yourself in that state, to then again create the causes and conditions for sleep to arise again. Michael, could you also comment on napping during the day? Is that a good idea or no?
It's a terrible idea. No, I'm making a joke for Pardeep because everyone who works with me knows that I am a inveterate person who must take a nap. So I believe in naps, and I think that they're extremely helpful. Different types of metabolisms in different bodies respond to napping differently. There are certain people who just can, and I'm one of them, I can just lay down and take a full, all the way asleep nap for just a short time, like a half hour, and it fixes my brain. I wake up from that ready to go, and I feel great. Other people feel groggy or disjointed or whatever, so your mileage may vary, but especially if you're not getting enough sleep at night, and your only choice is to nap, becoming good at napping is so helpful. It really, I find that talking in a very non-scientific way, it just fixes my brain chemistry. That's what it feels like. Like when I awake from a nap, suddenly my mood is much better. My sharpness is back. It's just restored something for me. So I often recommend napping, and that requires that you have this ability to just relax quickly, and then when you're done, to wake back up. And what's curious about this is, again, this builds these core skills to do exactly what Parneet was saying, which is if you wake up in the night, you have the skill to just quickly go back to sleep. So I think napping is great. I think everyone should nap more.
Beautiful. Well, and we like to call it the power nap, right?
The power nap.
Yeah, it can power you up, and some of the research points to about 20 minutes or so as sort of a good target time for a nap that doesn't leave you too groggy. So that's something that folks can try. We're getting so many beautiful comments on how accessible and practical and useful this session has been. So thank you so much for that, Michael. And I know everyone is dying to hear more of your voice, and I have good news. Everyone who registers for the session and any of our sessions, you have 90 days free access to the Wise at Work app, and you will find many of Michael's meditations on the app, including a sleep series called 5 Paths to Deep Sleep. Highly, highly recommend that. He also has a series on anxiety, which is called the Anxiety Buster. Again, it's one of our very successful series on the app. So I encourage you to check those out. And Michael, if folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way?
The best way is just via email. My email address is my name, Michael Taft, @gmail.com. I got in there early and to Gmail, got my name. So feel free to pop me an email.
Thank you. Thank you so much again for your time, for your expertise, for your wisdom. This has been so wonderful. Thank you, Michael.
Thanks,
and thank you everyone for joining our session today. If you have any questions, please do reach out to us at info@wisdomlabs.com. And please join us for next week's session where we will be meeting with Shauna Shapiro, who will be talking to us how mindfulness builds how our practice and how we can do that better. Thanks again, everyone, for joining us today. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Thank you again, Michael, and we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.